Fantasy Draft, the only rake-free daily fantasy site, brings the heat again with a $350,000 guaranteed rake-free contest, the Hooters main event. This is the largest and only rake-free contest of its kind you will find for Week 8. And remember, only on Fantasy Draft are 100% of the entry fees paid to contestant winners. Sign up at FantasyDraft.com with referral code WBLZ, and you'll get a free 7-day trial membership.
Ironic Radio proudly presents Daily Fantasy Sports, Fantasy Foreplay, powered by DailyFantasyLines.com.
Wilson Keith airs it out, downfield, the rookie! Touchdown, DK Metcalf.
Give it to McCaffrey. Trying to get around the right side. He does. McCaffrey leaps. End zone. Oh, touchdown. First down and 10. I'll play fake to Fournette. Minshew looking deep for Short. He's got him. Touchdown.
Second and 8 to give. Coming around this side is Steven Sims. And Sims still on the loose and down the sideline. Steven Sims going to go all the way to the end zone. No flag.
From the Falcons 33, off the play fake. Watson with loads of time. Fires downfield to the end zone. Touchdown.
Hands it off to McCaffrey. There he goes. It's a C-Mac attack. McCaffrey, one man to beat. McCaffrey all the way.
They're looking down the field for the home run ball. It's ball. And a touchdown to Tyler Boyd.
Gets the call. Up the middle, Bonifant. Reggie Bonifant off to the races. Are you kidding me? Reggie, Mr. October for Carolina.
And he's got this running game working, as you see, with Matt Breida. And look at the speed on Breida. What a way to start it. 83-yard touchdown. Hand off to Jones. Nice cutback. Aaron Jones for the touchdown. Hand off to Jones. He is in for the touchdown. Aaron Jones trying to get to the edge. He does. He's got another. Jones is going to reach and get it. His fourth of the game to tie a Packer franchise record.
I don't believe what I just saw.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to DFS Fantasy Foreplay. We are at Week 8. Gentlemen, Week 7 turned out to be quite a fruitful week for all of us, I believe. Webby, I know you had a fun time watching your Sunday games and watching your little fantasy draft name go up and down the leaderboard in the top 100 for quite a long part of the afternoon. Yes, no?
DFS Fantasy Foreplay had a good day. We were up in 23rd at one point. We dropped down to 62nd and cashed out.
It's not a bad deal. One of the other lineups we built ended up netting another $50.
Yeah.
Dan, what about you over there? How'd the article do?
It just bubbled out. It ended up like at 150 something points. Yeah, it was like literally like 2 more points, and I'm blaming it on Evan Engram, who I spent a ton on in that lineup and did absolutely nothing.
Oh, well, we'll get to one Mr. Evan Engram momentarily. Outside of that, I had a great day on DraftKings. Netted out some great cash in DraftKings. FanDuel, yet again, I literally broke even.
It's the rake. You can't beat the rake on FanDuel.
You really can't beat the rake on FanDuel. I mean, if it's not for my cash games, I'd be underwater, but hey, I'll take my leveraging cash games all day, every day. People, that's why you play cash games, to leverage your GPP bets. And yeah, we'll go with that. All right, why don't we kick things off here before we start breaking down this week's slate? Because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of debate because it's fairly wide open this week in many regards. You're going to have your games. You're going to have your chalky players, but it's very, very spread out. So why don't we do Hot Mess Express, and from there we can jump into breaking down this week. All right, Hot Mess Express. For our quarterbacks this week, gentlemen, I am inducting one Mr. Kyler Murray into our Hot Mess Express. For the amount of plays that this Arizona team runs, and I just don't understand how he could only put up a whopping 7 points. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. You are playing the Giants.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, there's a whole nother debacle to this whole story about, David Johnson playing. David Johnson comes out, runs for like 4 yards, and you never see him again.
Yeah.
And who comes in and lights the world on fire, and they didn't need to throw the ball? One Mr. Chase Edmonds.
Looks like a good play this week, too.
I don't know if I want to pay the price for Edmonds this week, but we'll get onto that. Matt Ryan, granted you got hurt, but before you got hurt, you put up a stinker considering you are putting up points week over week. Welcome to the Hot Mess Express. And then one other man who's on this, and I don't really know if this is a product of him or the weather. One Mr. Jimmy G. You steered your team to a victory of 9-0. It was a great baseball score that day. What a pitching duel we had. Mother Nature had her way with you and the Washington Redskins that day.
A lot of sliding into third base in that game.
I feel terrible for our producer over here, one Mr. Thumpin' Loud, who just cannot catch a break any which way he looks. The man cannot catch a break when it comes to his Redskins. All right, moving on over to wide receivers. Mr.
Can I throw a quarterback in there?
Would you like to?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Bring a quarterback in.
Oh, Mr. Carson Wentz.
Who he has been dropped in season-long leagues like it's nobody's business. Hot trash right there.
You played Dallas, who had just had their asses handed to them by the lowly Jets. You were 11 grand. You put up 9.
0.7, 0.8 value.
181 yards. 191. Interception. That's horrible. You had a horrible.
He is talk about sophomore slump. He's got like the junior slump working for him right now. Hey Dan, any quarterbacks you want to add to this? You want to throw in? I don't want to speak ill of your lovely quarterback with 47 children, but you want to put him up there?
Phillip Rivers, sure.
You could just put that whole coaching staff. That's
what a disaster.
See, I wanted to say
it's such
that
a good team with all the talent on.
No.
They have so much talent on that team. They should not have lost 3 in a row.
You everyone, Melvin Gordon, all the fucking Chargers fans. Oh, last week. Oh, Melvin Gordon's going to play. No, he's not. Not going to play. He's going to get 3 carries if he's lucky, which is exactly what he got. This week, he's going to have a breakout week. Yeah, he did. He broke it out right. He broke it out right on the fucking goal line and fumbled the ball to lose the game.
Yep.
Trash.
Anybody else you want? We can go to.
Yeah, I have 2 running backs I want to add onto the list.
Go ahead.
Devontae Freeman, who was in the lineup we built and got us a whopping 4.5 points.
Ejected from the game.
Can you put him on the Hot Mess Express? He got thrown out of the game for what? Punching the other guy in the face? Was that the Miami game?
Did Atlanta play Miami?
I don't remember what game it was, because the Miami game, there was somebody thrown out on the first play of the game also.
No, that was Miami. No.
Okay, well, they were in that game too. A guy punched another guy in the face, and they threw him out of the fucking game.
You have it right there. Kenyon Drake, Dolphins, Bills.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I have an odd candidate for the Hot Mess Express. It's Leonard Fournette. And here's the reason why. He has averaged over the last month 28.75 touches per game. I mean, that is a workload and a half. That's everything you want from a DFS perspective. He has 1 touchdown on the season. I don't know how it's possible to touch the ball 30 times a game and only get 1 score.
That's a product of your offense. Can't put it all on him. How terrible is that O-line in Jacksonville? I mean,
but last week
making his points.
But last week particularly, you're playing the Bengals, who are worse in the league for allowing touchdowns to running backs. So I mean, he got us 19.5 points. So I'm not
31 rushing yards.
Oh yeah, I just that should have been a 30-point game.
He got his 100-yard bonus, and he had 2 receptions for 14.
No end time. Doesn't know what it looks like since week 3, I believe it is. If I'm not mistaken, is it week 3? Oh no, it's week 5 against a lowly Carolina.
Well, I got 2 guys that completely belong on this Hot Mess Express because every other team just runs all over Miami. Yet Devin Singletary and Frank Gore could only manage 8 points between the two of them.
Frank Gore is not a good running back.
Frank Gore used to be a good running back.
10 years ago.
Right.
He's done nothing but 8 points a week.
But Frank Gore is like indestructible. I'm pretty sure he's like half mech tech.
That's fine.
At this point.
Yeah, that's completely fine. And I don't disagree with you at all. But 8 points every week, it's not good. Not good.
No, I don't disagree. And neither one of them did much of anything against the Dolphins. And the Dolphins almost won that game against the Bills.
Yeah.
I'll throw Carlos Hyde on the Hot Mess Express. He did a hot heaping pile of shit of nothing.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't run him.
Exactly,
anywhere.
right? And I'm going to throw Matt Breida again. I don't know if I can throw Breida on there. Outside
it was hard
of
for that game because it was such a shit
it was a messy game, but a messy game generally leads to be a running game, not a passing game. So you should have done at least double-digit points, and you failed to get that. But then again, I get your whole timeshare backfield with like 4 running backs that are taking touches.
Backfield by committee there.
No. It's backfield by a basketball team.
But yeah. It's
not just a committee.
Cricket or something
It's a backfield by a 4-man squad.
Yeah.
And the last one I'm going to throw in there is David Johnson because he should have never played, and I'll take the entire Arizona coaching staff for pulling dirty shit and trolling the fantasy empire going, ha, 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 well, you should have paid attention. You didn't say anything. You said the man was playing.
Yeah.
So you're costing people money, but they don't care because it's not real football. And I get that.
True.
I get that. I understand that. Any other running backs?
Chris Carson.
What did Carson do last week?
Nothing.
How many points?
10.4. Carried the ball 21 times for 65 yards. Never found the end zone. Put up a whopping 10.
And they lost to Baltimore.
That's
can you really?
And he was 12 and a half grand, 12.3.
Yeah, but can you really hold that on him? Like how? When in the game was Seattle really down that they had to just throw the ball to get back into the game, and he's not really. We know he's not at hands.
The Ravens.
It doesn't matter.
Their D-line isn't that good to stop the run.
But you're not going to run the ball if you're down 3 touchdowns in the third quarter.
I get it. 21 touches.
Game script does have a
yards. Play. 3.1? Is that what it was? 3.1? 3.1 average.
No, that's terrible.
Joy.
Yeah. And again, where'd they play that? At home?
Uh-huh.
He should have done better.
They were at the Ravens, I believe, right?
No. Home, I believe.
Oh, okay. Well, horrible. Horrible.
All right. Moving on to wide receivers.
Oh, God.
Old man Fitzgerald, welcome to the train. I know you just probably needed a break last week. It was the Giants. You should have done better. I know you're old. Probably part bionic as well. But welcome to the Hot Mess Express. Kenny Golladay. I understand it was the Marvin Jones Jr. day because he put a 4-burger up there. On your bench.
Yeah, on my bench.
On your bench.
My bench in year-long fantasy. On my bench.
He put a 4-burger up, but you could have done better with what you were given.
True.
And the last person that I have on my personal list, and I will pass it over to you guys, is one Jamison Crowder. Against Dallas, you could have done better. But it was the Robbie Anderson show.
Was that a show?
I don't know.
What did he do?
I'm sure he's in your boards for...
No, I don't think so. Not in my boards. Not what I'm looking at. No.
Alrighty.
You got anybody to add to that, Dan? I mean,
Michael Gallup, 6.4 points, was kind of a disappointment considering the Cowboys scored 37 points against the Eagles. He had a really good CB matchup. 3 receptions for 34 yards. Honestly, I was expecting more from Gallup. Thought he had a really good opportunity with that match to get into the end zone, and it just did not happen.
Okay.
I'll buy that.
I'm tempted to put one Julio Jones on there.
He put up 15 points.
He put up 15 points, and that's not even 15. Okay, it was 14-1. But what I'm seeing from
you got 1x value.
What I'm seeing from
Also
Julio,
got to remember, Matt Ryan went out.
What I'm seeing from Julio Jones is every crappy team that they play against, he does nothing. His points per game against sub 500 teams is like an average of 9.
No, I don't disagree.
It's tough. I want to see another week, but
well, I'm interested to see what happens now that they ship Sanu out to the Patriots.
Bye-bye.
So now you have Ridley, Sanu, and Hooper. Those are your 1, 2, and 3.
Jones and Hooper and
Jones. Jones is 1. Hooper is 2. Ridley is 3.
Right.
When it comes to probably target looking. Speaking of tight ends, we brought up Hooper. At the top in the front of the train, you just go sit in the corner and shut up and say nothing. Evan Engram, how you could do nothing. Then again, that's more of a Daniel Jones issue.
He didn't get poked in the eye.
No.
He got poked in the eye.
No.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, he got poked in the eye.
But he played the rest of the game for 1 target for 6 yards.
Like that with a blood clot in his eyeball. He got poked in the eye. I watched that game.
He still got 1 target for 6 yards.
Yeah. We couldn't see the ball. Why throw it to him? Eye.
I'm also going to throw Zach Ertz on that train.
Yeah.
For sure. And I'm going to throw Mark Andrews on that train, who a lot of people were hot on last week.
Well, because of the week before's performance, where he lit up.
It was also against Seattle, who doesn't defend tight ends very well.
Where he lit it up, Mark Andrews, 9-3, 24% owned, 5.9 points. Definitely a hot mess. You know how I feel about the tight ends this year. Last week I had all of them except 4, and they were the same 2 names twice.
And how many are you putting on this week?
I agree with you on the Andrews and this Hawkinson.
TJ Hawkinson.
Okay, people, all we hear all the time is, oh, TJ Hawkinson. No. Look at his numbers over 7-8 weeks. Trash. Why does everybody in the fantasy world keep bringing his name up?
Because in the beginning of the year, he was electric.
No, he was never electric. He had 1 week, and that was it. Against who?
Yeah, week 1.
Arizona.
Week 1, I'll give him week 4.
Kansas City? Okay, maybe. Yeah.
Give him week
but
4.
You got to remember, his price that week was dirt, and he put up 11. I think he was 55,
I think that's the game he
5,900.
went out. Did he go out hurt in that game? Yeah, because he didn't play week 5. His game log is 1, 2, 3, 4,
right,
6.
Yeah. I don't stop with it. This guy should not be looked at, and if you're running him on your fantasy teams, drop him.
All right, well, I pass it over to you guys now. Wide receivers, tight ends, anybody you want to throw on there?
I gave you mine. Dan, you got anybody else to add across the board?
No, I don't think so.
All righty, why don't we jump in this week? And I want to start with QB this week, specifically because, as Webby alluded to at the top of the show, it's a lot of shit games this week.
It's crap games.
There is a lot of just
horrible matchups.
Terrible football games. So I'm really looking at 2 guys who I'm probably going to give most of my exposure to, and that's going to be 1A and 1B. You sort them however you want. They have a differential in price of $100 on FantastDraft. That's Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson.
Sean Watson. I said that. I like.
Especially looking at what Rodgers did last week against Oakland. So, yeah.
And I mean, if you want to spend your money elsewhere and you want to pay down, I was just gonna say, like in the 10 grand range, there's like 2 guys that I'm looking at, and that's Tannehill, who I think. The unfortunate part is on FantastDraft, it doesn't open up a lot of leeway.
No.
When as you go over to your FanDuels and your DraftKings, where their pricing on QBs is way more liberal when it comes to like, oh, you're a backup quarterback, you're $3,000.
Right.
You know, you get the flexibility to put in a bunch more high price players because of that price cost differential.
But over here,
I like Tannehill, and I like Minshew against the Jets.
Minshew. Well, it is against the dumpster fire of the New Jersey Jets.
You know, so I like Minshew. Another one that I'm on, just $500 more than Minshew, who I think could have a really, really good game, I'm just not sure.
If you say the Red Rocket, I'm going to come across this table.
No.
With Matt Stafford against the Giants.
Stafford against the
Well,
Giants.
I do like Stafford, but actually, that was one of the. That was
You
one
know,
of the
I mean,
lines
you
we
want
were
to pay
building in the
down.
car.
Yeah. I mean, you want to pay down a little bit. I mean, there's no reason why you can't punt and go all the way down and take Tannehill.
You know, the big issue there with Stafford is do you stack that game?
I think you stack him with Galladay this week.
See, I like the Galladay move. We talked
And
about
then
that
if
in
you
car
have the
coming
money,
over.
see, the unfortunate part is no sooner did Kerryon Johnson go out.
Yeah.
His backup, what is it? Ty, what's this kid's name? Ty
Johnson.
Ty Johnson.
Yeah, it's same
Yeah,
last name.
They priced him at 10K, 10.1K.
Min.
No,
No, men's like
Oh.
6.
Yeah, Min's like 6 for a running back.
So
They immediately took that soft price tag right off him and put him in the middle of the pack. Sony Michel is cheaper than a kid who got 3 catches and ran for a few yards in that game last week. And he's a higher value.
I still think a lot of guys are going to play him because of the perception that he's cheap when he's really not cheap, and that these are the same players who went out and picked him up on their weekly league, so they're going to plug him into DFS. But I don't see a 30-point performance from him. I mean, I think he'd be really lucky to get a 2x performance. So I don't know. That's not where I want to go.
Yeah, I mean, if you took Stafford and Galladay, I'd go to the other side of the ball and take maybe I don't know, Golden Tate. Or, I mean, if you have the money and you want to pay down elsewhere, go get Barkley. If you want to drop 16-2.
I do.
I mean, if you want to drop 16-2 on Barkley, you can go spend up and get him. I mean, I don't think either one of those moves are necessarily bad. But, yeah, I mean, when it comes to quarterbacks, I'm putting my eggs with Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson. I will take a share or two of Matt Stafford, and I think I'm going to have a couple shares of Ryan Tannehill. Maybe a share of Minshew if I'm really going crazy building GPP lines.
I like the Tannehill move, especially now that he has to start. Obviously,
I wouldn't start him I wouldn't start Tannehill in a cash game.
No,
I would go with Watson or Wilson in cash games.
Yeah,
all these other guys that I've mentioned are strictly GPP plays.
Yeah, and there you're well, I don't want to say you're paying up, but you're taking one of the top. This week is what, 5 quarterbacks that are over 11 grand? I think it's 5 or 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 11 grand. The rest of them are 11 down to min, 11.9 down to min.
If you want to get really contrarian and just do something, I mean, he hasn't done a lot recently, but Tom Brady might not be a bad pick either.
Josh Allen could be a good play this week too against the Eagles.
He's going to run a lot. It's supposed to be cold as fuck up in Buffalo.
Yep. So you could double dip on the rushing.
You may
touchdowns.
not get the passing yards out of him, but you're going to get the rushing yards out of him.
Yeah, and
maybe a TD or 2.
Maybe
you could be right on
2. Could be 2. You know, it's a thought I've been looking at over there. The whole Kyler Murray thing. I was on the train. It's a great matchup this week against New Orleans.
I'm staying away this week.
I don't know if that's a move you want to.
I don't want to say I'm burned and I don't want to chase the points, but
yeah,
I really don't see a need to go back to Murray when I think Watson and Wilson are in very good spots.
Minshew thing. I mean, I like it against the Jets, but the guy can't put up points in fantasy.
I mean, Seattle's at Atlanta, and we saw what Jared Goff did to Atlanta.
Jared Goff had a good game this year.
Jared Goff was one of the top fantasy scorers last week.
First time this year, I believe. He's terrible too.
I think you can go back to the well on that one though.
This week, yeah.
And as you said, Deshaun Watson against Oakland. I mean, both of these lines that I'm picking here, like Seattle and Houston, they have the highest over/unders coming into the weekend.
Yes.
Like current lines I have are 53 and 51.5. They may have shifted since I did my research, but they're still over 50. Next one up is Giants at Detroit. How they figure they're getting 50 points out of that game, I'd really like to know. But
it's okay. Everybody's healthy for the Giants now, so the whole team's back.
So they're going to come out and they're going to beat Detroit?
Yeah, well, no, they're not going to beat Detroit, but they're going to put up points, right?
They're going to put up 25 points.
No, but yeah.
Okay, they're going to put up 25 points.
Yeah, you take the under in that game and run all day long.
Okay. I mean, Stafford, what is the estimated team total? Vegas over-under now is 49.5. Detroit's team total estimation at this point in time is about 28 points.
Don't like it.
They're saying Giants are going to score 21.5. I don't buy that. If the Giants put up 17, I'd be surprised. 2 TDs and a field goal. I'd be surprised. All right, let's move on over to running backs. And I kind of want to go back to the well. No, I can't. I mean, you got to play him. You can play him in a GPP if you can figure out. The only way you can play McCaffrey this week is in a GPP. You can't fit him in a cash game.
Well, we had it.
You can't fit him in a cash game lineup because you are taking way too many eggs and putting it in one basket. Yes, he's the only one who scored almost 30 points as a fantasy player
30,
every game.
Every week, 30.
But at the same time, I'm only going to play McCaffrey in a GPP. If I'm going cash games, I'm playing guys that are going to get the volume, that they're priced accordingly, that it's going to be able to build a solid lineup. And I'm not going, oh, well, I played McCaffrey, so I need to go down and get Jeremy Sprinkle as my tight end because it's all I can afford, or Noah Fant as my tight end because that's all I can afford.
Noah Fant. He gets 3 points, 4 points a game. He can't. Noah Fant.
I'm just putting it out there. There's no way you're building a cash game lineup that way.
Okay.
GPP, sure, because you can take a flyer on like an Alan Lazard at $6,000.
We're not going down Lazard again.
I'm just saying, like a player of that caliber that's costing you nothing, then you could take the flyer and go that route.
Okay.
I'm going Chris Carson. I'm going Fournette. And if I were to go elsewhere in cash games, I might even throw that kid Ty Johnson in. Maybe. Because he's going to get the lion's share against the Giants, and we just saw what Chase Edmonds did to the Giants.
Chris Carson's not a bad matchup. It's a mediocre matchup, and what's his pricing, 11?
Chris Carson is 13-3.
13-3. He'll give you the 15 to 20 points, the 20 number you want.
I say his average is probably 20.
I think Derrick Henry might be a
better
choice.
I think his ceiling's probably about 35-40. I know
it is Atlanta. It is Atlanta. I mean, not for anything, Le'Veon Bell's a dynamite play this week against Jacksonville. Can't stop the run for nothing.
Dan, how you feeling about it?
Well, both McCaffrey, Fournette, and Carson, and Ty Johnson, those were my 4 alternative running backs in the article. I landed on Barkley, Gurley, Aaron Jones, and my cheap $6,000 value play is DeAndre Johnson with Josh Jacobs. And now he's questionable, but what I'm hearing out of Oakland is that the shoulder injury was pretty serious. And I think this game against Houston is going to have Oakland playing from behind a lot. And I just see that DeAndre Johnson has an opportunity to catch 5 or 10 passes and could really put up a 2 to 3x return. And the save, even if Jacobs plays, I think Washington is a fair play. I mean, because he's averaged like 7.4 points over the last 3 weeks. So it's not. I mean, I'm certain that his workload is going to go up regardless of Jacobs plays or not plays, because I just don't see Jacobs with his shoulder going out and touching the ball 30 times.
Yeah, I can agree with that. My only thing that concerns me about that play is Tyrell Williams is back, and this could be a complete and total air assault. Houston's secondary is terrible. I mean, they've been thrown on all year. So that's the only thing that would be like, he may get his 15 to 16 touches, maybe 3 to 5 screen passes, maybe snipe a touchdown if they make it down to the goal line. But I think it's going to be Darren Waller, Tyrell Williams, and that's where the offense is going to run through.
Yeah, I'm not looking for DeAndre Johnson to totally go off, but I just think that he's a $6,000 play that I think is going to have enough volume, enough work there. I'm pretty certain he's not going to provide me a 0, and the cash savings there allows me to get some other quality players and including, having a Deshaun, Watson and stacking him with DeAndre Hopkins. So if you're gonna, do a stack like that, you need to find value somewhere to make that work.
Yeah, so he's not necessarily in the same class of value as Williams is that you just brought up, but the only thing that scares me about what I'm about to say is are you really chasing a ghost at this point?
I see ghosts.
You got Sony Michel who literally ran all over the Jets.
He's going to do the same thing against Cleveland.
He could.
He is.
And he's 9,500, so he's providing value and salary relief. I said it at the top of the show. This kid, Ty Johnson, is $600 more than him with no proven track record. But
exactly.
Sony Michel has done a whole lot of nothing up until the breakout game with the Jets.
Well, Washington, he ran all over Washington for 21.
No, I have. Are you talking about Gurley?
No, we're talking about Michelle.
Okay. Oh, okay. I thought you transitioned. You mentioned because I threw out Gurley there, chasing a ghost. So there's another player I feel like I am chasing a bit of a ghost this week is with Gurley, but he's, he did have, 19 touches last week, and the matchup is just absolutely, phenomenal. So, and his price isn't off the board. He isn't in that 16 to 17,000 range. He's at 13.5. So it just, I feel like I'm willing to roll the dice with that.
I can see it in a GPP for sure. I mean, that could even be a good contrarian pick. I don't think a lot of people are going to be on Gurley.
I think the issue with Gurley this week is I think you're going to see, in my opinion, some of the same things you saw in the Tampa Bay game, where he's being used a lot in the slot as a wideout.
That's great.
Can he
give me that PPR point?
But can he run the ball yards after the catch against Seattle?
He's not playing.
He's
playing
Cincinnati.
And Cincinnati is a team to run on.
That's just it. Is he going to be the runner or is he going to be the pass catcher?
I don't know either way.
I think it could be both.
It could be.
It could be one of those vintage Gurley games.
I mean, 13,
notice the air quotes.
Yeah, 13.5. 13.5. It might be good in a flex spot. Gurley in there.
So, Ren, what's your thoughts on Aaron Jones? He made it into my lineup here, and I just don't know what to expect out of the Green Bay running game from week to week. But it does seem like he's getting about 65% of the touches, and KC is just a sieve when it comes to points against running backs.
That's catching running backs.
Yeah.
I like the play. I like the fact you went to get exposure in that night game. It seems to be the one thing with fantasy draft. If you can get yourself find one piece of that night game and you've built yourself a solid lineup from the day game, it just seems like you're affording yourself more opportunity to either hold your position wherever you are if you're already cashing, or move yourself up. I don't see it as a detriment to your lineup. So if you're not cashing and you're really not cashing because you had a terrible day and you're running someone in the night game, it's not going to help you at all. But if you hit that mark and you have that lineup that's already in the cash and you're running a running back who's getting 65 to 70, who's scoring touchdowns week over week, I don't see it as anything but a benefit. And I'm still going to go Aaron Jones over Williams for now. Until I have a reason not to, Jones is going to be the pick I'm going to take out of that Packer backfield. And taking the Packers against who's the backup quarterback? If
I do not know who the backup is there. Sorry, that name escapes me. Totally escapes me. Aaron Jones. It's too many running back. I mean, he's more of a pass catching back now. I mean, he gets 4 to 6 targets a game.
But again, you get the full point on fantasy draft, so that's
you do get you get the full point.
It's Matt Moore. I mean, he's
Matt Moore.
Talk about
Moore, right. We were talking.
He's actually been I think he was it sounds weird to say, a playoff quarterback for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, for 1 year, for one game. for 1 year.
When Tannehill blew his ACL or whatever. Yeah,
they were having a good season that year too.
He's a serviceable quarterback, but if Green Bay gets out and Green Bay gets after Matt Moore and
that's where Jones becomes the pass catch back. I mean,
but does he also run the rock at that point because they're just bleeding time off the clock because it's Green Bay and they're already up by 3 touchdowns and they just need to bleed the clock now?
But the guy's averaging like 12 rushing attempts, 13 all season.
What is Williams doing?
I gotta find him. Hold on, I'll give you that. Oh wait, be right here. It's Jamal, right?
Yeah, Jamal Williams.
Nothing. Well, it's serviceable.
14 attempts.
Yeah, 14, 12, 9, 5, and nothing. That was a horrible game. That was week 1. What are you talking about? An average of like 8 touches rushing? Again, everybody's a passing back there.
Well, it's Green Bay's
It's
offense.
Green Bay. Everybody's a passing back. They're running that somewhat West Coast offense. Everybody's a passing back. I mean, I like to play. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I think you're in a good spot playing Jones. If you got cold feet about it, you have other guys in your overflow that you could pivot to, like a Fournette. I don't think it's that outstanding of a cost difference, right?
I like Philip Lindsay in that game.
Well, that's another 1,600. I can't really pivot in this lineup. It'd be some wholesale changes to make that work. I could pivot to Chris Carson at 3,300, but I don't know. I think I'm okay with Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I would roll with it and see what happens. It's a GPP anyway, so.
Back on the Philip Lindsay though, it's disgusting.
I don't know.
I know it's tough.
I'm nowhere near Philip Lindsay. So it's contrarian and go for it and ride it.
I mean, how is he?
I have no reason to go to Philip Lindsay considering what this team has done over the past 2 weeks, and you don't know what Roy. If you want to go there, go Royce Freeman.
I'd rather go Lindsay. I think it's a better script for him against Indy this week. But you don't.
How much is Lindsay costing you?
10.
Royce Freeman's only 10-4.
Right.
And I still only think he's going to get you maybe 10 to 11 to 12 points.
Yeah, I know he's only averaging about that anyway, but he's got them 2 breakout weeks against crap. Well, I don't want to say crap teams. I mean, he had bust out week against Green Bay, and they wound up losing that game.
I think we got running backs. Where are we at in terms of wide receivers?
All over the place. Kenny Golladay.
DeAndre Hopkins to go with the stack of Deshaun Watson. There is no Will Fuller, so there's no worry. If you want to save some money and you don't want to pay Hopkins, go down and get Kenny Stills. Kenny Stills is going to fill Will Fuller's role. If he can get the separation, I think that could be a good cheap play at 9.9K.
Hey, look up on the screen there, Ren. Who's in the flex?
Yep, Kenny Stills.
Kenny Stills.
In cash games, I also kind of like Dede again this week, and Can't Guard Mike.
Can't Guard Mike. It's a must play.
I also am kind of all over John Brown as a core play this week, along with DeAndre Hopkins. They're my 2 probably lock-in wide receiver plays this week.
I agree with all that. The other names I'd run in there is Corey Davis is a nice, cheap number 1 receiver.
Do you want to stack him with...
I don't even have the stack. I got Davis for 8,700 because he fits in there and he has a great cornerback matchup and just kind of allows the rest of my lineup build to work. Another one I was looking at was Golden Tate as a possibility too, and somebody perhaps a little on the cheaper side.
I think other cheap guys that you could look at, DK Metcalf in Seattle, if you don't want to go get Lockett. This guy has had the most targets, 10 targets in like the past 3 weeks with no touchdowns. I can't remember what the stat is. If I can dig it up when we're lineup building, I'll dig it up. But he's due for a touchdown at some point. And I mean, Seattle is playing Atlanta. It's a prime opportunity. He's a big body. I think saving some money instead of Lockett and going the DK Metcalf, Chris Carson, Russell Wilson stack, I don't think you're going to go wrong with that at all.
That's maybe what we end up doing for our lineup here.
Yeah, I mean, we very well may. I mean,
yeah.
Other places you can go. I like Ted Ginn against Arizona. He's cheap. if you want to get a piece of that game at 7.3K. And I also kind of like Allen Robinson against the Chargers.
Yeah.
My only fear about that is which Trubisky shows up.
Hopefully it's not the one we've seen for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
And you and I also talked about Kenny Golladay. If I can fit Golladay, and I kind of like that play too. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm not trying to spread too crazily this week because I'm just trying to find the core, build the core, and maybe switch out a piece here or there and roll that way. Tight ends. There's kind of only like 2 places I'm going with tight end, and Webby's going to hate one of them. I'm going Darren Waller and paying up for my 12.2K, or I'm paying down and going to TJ Hawkinson against
why would you do
against
that?
the Giants.
Why would you do that?
Why wouldn't you go with Josh Hill?
Yeah.
With Cook out.
Yes. Exactly.
I need to know who the QB is.
You're not going to know. It's going to be 3 quarterbacks in that game. And all 3 of them, well, I shouldn't say all 3, because when the one quarterback, Taysom Hill, is in, he's just going to run the ball. If Breeze is in and Bridgewater, and I fully expect both of them to be playing in that game, fully expect it, they're going to throw the ball to him, period. I agree with Dan flat out.
I mean, you can sign me up for Josh Hill. He's probably what min salary at 6K,
6'9".
6'9". Yeah, I think the tight end min salary is like 5 or 5,500 or something. It's 5, so it's not min salary, but it's salary relief that's pretty substantial.
Since week 1, we have done nothing but go after Arizona.
Yep.
Every tight end has been, we're going after Arizona this week.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to talk about the tight end anymore, and I'm just going to ask the question, who's playing Arizona this week? Okay, that's the tight end we're using. And we're going to build a lineup every week around our tight end.
Well, when Arizona's literally allowed twice as many touchdowns to tight ends than any other team, that's logical.
All right, real quick before we do our lineup build, defenses this week, either pay up and go get your Patriots, or I kind of like the Bronco play at 4,100. I've had the Broncos, and they just seem to fit in a lot of my lineups. I know it's very almost asking to be beaten because they're going against Indy, and Brissett had a great game last week, but their secondary is
bad.
It's not terrible.
No, it's not as bad. It's bad. Not terrible. Not horrible. It's bad.
I mean, where else you want to go? But it's the price that has me drawn there. Like, if I'm not going to go pay up and get the Patriots or San Fran,
right?
Why am I going to spend $5,200 to go get Detroit against the Giants?
$5,200.
But why am I going to spend $5,200 to go get Detroit against that when I could spend $4,100 and take that extra grand?
Yeah.
And what do you have left? And make it $9,600, and you got.
I'm playing here.
You got yourself a better opportunity at a starter running back. Like right now, you are so top heavy on wide receivers and Gurley.
I'm playing right now.
All right. With that said, let's build a lineup here and see where we net out, because this is probably going to take us some time, I am sure. Where do we want to start this week, gentlemen?
Well, I'd like to get some exposure to Russell Wilson, because in the article I have exposure to Deshaun Watson, and I kind of agree with you. If you're playing multiple lineups, you want a piece of both of those. So if you guys don't mind, I would like to. My vote is for Wilson.
Then if we're doing that, I want to stack it with Carson.
Hang on. Let me just get this open there. Okay.
I want to stack with Carson, and I want to go DK Metcalf.
Oh, he's on this fucking Metcalf train for like 4 weeks now.
No, last week was Baby Shark.
And it didn't pay out. It didn't work at all.
I got paid.
It didn't work at all. He got you 10-2. He was 1x.
Well, let's look at. You guys keep talking. I'll go look at the wide receiver cornerback matchups for that game and see what makes sense.
Yeah. So you're going Chris Carson here, Ren? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. I think Carson's a good play.
We got Wilson. We got Carson. I liked the idea of the Gurley move, but at 13.5 with the 2 13s we got in there, I don't see how that works.
Well, I'm just going to go take care of this right now.
I like Derrick Henry also.
I don't like Henry this week.
Against Tampa Bay?
No.
It's definitely going to be a good play.
I'm putting Josh Allen right in.
Tight end, we're going right for Josh Hill. Okay, let me grab that.
Might as well save the money. We know that's where we're going. So, I like Fournette.
Josh Hill is 50 what?
6,900.
69 this week, huh? That's not bad.
You just said that.
69. Okay.
Well, here's just looking at this. Lockett's up against a quarterback who had a 57% catch rate with 11 yards per reception. And Metcalf is going up against Isaiah Oliver, who's had a 69.4% catch rate with a 15 yards per reception.
Okay. Well, what does that sway? Does that sway you in any way?
No, it validates my.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it does.
It validates my pick.
I'm giving it. Yeah, okay, I'll give it to you. I give it to you. Totally give it to you. Russell Wilson, Chris Carson, we're slotting in Josh Hill as a tight end. What does that leave? We need another
DK Metcalf at 9,800.
God, wide receiver. DK Metcalf. It's gonna kill me.
Watch, he puts up like 32 points. I told you we should have played DK.
If he puts up that many points, I will
Take a pie in the face.
buy you a beer and a shot.
Okay.
How many did you say? 30?
32.
Oh, beer and a shot on that one. I don't see that happening. I don't think he's ever put up those numbers in his life.
He's a rookie.
He's never put up numbers like that in his life. The guy's averaging 14.
Second running back here, I really want to go Fournette.
10.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that too. You should get a good 19-20 out of that, especially against Jacksonville. I mean, Jets.
Second wide receiver, I really want to go Hopkins. I want to save the money on Michael Thomas.
What? You want to go Hopkins over Can't Guard Mike?
Yep.
Oof.
I think that's the right call. You know who the quarterback is, and the matchup. Look at these matchups, and hold on a second. I think Thomas has Patrick Peterson, and yes, he has Patrick Peterson, and Hopkins is going up against most likely Darryl Worley, who is giving up 3.1 fantasy points per target.
You know, here's my issue. Can't Guard Mike always catches the ball. It's thrown to him, he catches it.
Let's build the lineup. We have money left, and if it works in, we can pivot.
All right.
You know, we're at 88.66 per player. Let's pick a defense and go from there. Are we all on board with Detroit? Do we like the Jets against Jacksonville?
Not if we have Fournette.
Exactly. Seattle, I don't think is worth paying $5,600 for. And I don't think they're that much of a beast. I mean, if I'm paying $5,600, I'd rather go pay the $6,700 for New England against Cleveland.
It's 21 points per game. It's just hard to walk away. I mean,
it's an average of 21 points a game.
Yeah.
It's an average of a 3x return. Yeah.
What? They played nobody. They played their 5 of their wins against the worst teams in the league.
I'm going to put them in, and we can always pivot off.
Then you have to put them in. You got no choice.
All right, 99.50 left for 2 flex spots. Talk to me.
You can't. Now you can't take Mike. You're dead.
Do you have any interest? And I already have exposure, so I'm just saying if you get that DeAndre Washington at 6,000, then you're in the
No, if Jacobs is playing before I go down the rabbit hole of that.
Okay.
Austin Hooper. We get you 20.
Or go down to Derrick Henry or Hunter Henry at 8,000.
I have Hunter Henry in another lineup also for $8,000. Agreed. Those are the two I like. Austin Hooper. Last Seattle game.
What about
Hunter Hurst Helmsley? If you mention anybody's name that starts with Tyler, I'm smacking you.
Okay.
No Boyd.
no? I'm trying to find a low.
This fits. I just want to talk it through. So if I throw Hunter Henry in there, I have 11.9 left. And I point out in the article that Austin Eckler has averaged 7.5 receptions a game over the last 4 weeks. And he's facing Chicago that has allowed a league high 28% of the passes or the reception yards to running backs. So, and Rivers is throwing the ball about 40 times a game. I add it all up to, and I think it's a 10 plus reception game for Austin Eckler.
I don't disagree with that. I'm on the Austin Eckler bandwagon myself. The guy's getting, well, what has he got? What's his average? 6 and 6 is 12, 19, 24, 39, 42 receptions on the year so far. Every game.
It's only week 6 go up.
Oh, right. 42, 49. Every week that he catches, a decent amount of balls, he puts up big numbers.
He's averaging 23 points.
What about going to the other side of that and taking David Montgomery?
No, he's just stay away from Montgomery. No. I mean, I get it, but
well, whoever the head coach is, and I cannot remember his name right now, is escaping me in Chicago, is assuming the play calling duties.
That doesn't mean Montgomery's going to be good. He hasn't been good all season.
He hasn't been utilized. He was hurt too. Don't forget.
It hasn't been utilized?
No. How many carries? 11 attempts. 21 attempts in week 4.
Against Oakland, they lost that game. They were behind most of it.
11 attempts against New Orleans. He had 2 attempts.
New Orleans shut that team down. They couldn't run the ball.
6 attempts, 18, 13 when he's had the opportunity.
I mean, you got to throw out week 1.
When he's had the opportunity, he's put numbers up.
You got to throw out week 1 because that was a shitty game against Green Bay. That was what, the first Thursday night game or whatever the hell it was? That was a horrible game. Denver? Okay. Another horrible game.
I will go and get...
I mean, I like where you're going with it, but not Montgomery.
Then the only other option is Tariq Cohen. If you want a piece of that game that we can afford. Going all the way up to Eckler at, what is it, 11?
11-2.
11.9.
11.9.
11.9.
So I put Hunter Henry in at 8.
Right.
So it equals out to nothing left. It's a perfect fill.
I'm okay with that. I mean,
I'll run it down. It would be Russell Wilson, Chris Carson, Leonard Fournette, DK Metcalf, DeAndre Hopkins, Josh Hill, Hunter Henry, Eckler, and the Patriots.
Not opposed to that. I mean, I'm not happy about not having a piece of can't guard Mike, but you can't fit that in here.
We could fit that in there if we went off DeAndre Hopkins and went down from the Patriots.
You can't, though. That's the problem. You can't. I mean, against Cleveland, you have to run the Patriots. You have to pay the money. There is no other defense that's even going to come close to that.
Here's the other thing. I think there's a perception that the Bears' run defense is really good. And the honesty is they're not. But I think because their perception is there, that the ownership on a guy like Eckler is going to be much lower.
See, I don't even think the Bears are a good team anywhere. What are they, 3-4? One, two, three. They're 3-3. Bye week, week 6. They can't score points.
All right. Well, if we're all good with this, I'm playing it, and it is what
Okay.
All right. Before we do anything else, there's a server error purchasing your ticket. Play. Confirm. Thinking.
This is what happened to me in the car. Remember, I couldn't.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna
You ain't gonna do anything.
take a.
I'll send it to you guys, and I was able to save it, and I'll take a picture and send it to you guys.
All right. Before we do anything anywhere, we need to talk about last week's our contrarian picks of the week.
Yes.
All right. So, while it loads.
Picks of the week. We had a decent week.
It wasn't terrible.
I believe you came out up on top.
I did.
I believe I came in second. Dan bringing up the rear.
Yeah, Dan didn't have a good week last week.
But his picks weren't bad.
They weren't bad picks.
No.
All right, so
just the game scripts.
Here we go.
The play didn't work.
I came out on top.
Yes.
Where is this? I find it.
Yourself over there for not having it up beforehand.
I did have it up beforehand, then things didn't work.
Oh, okay. Would you like me to bring it up?
If you have the scores, yeah.
You put them. They were put in our.
I'm in the Slack right now. Bring them up.
Yeah, that's where I am right now too. I just got to scroll back and grab them. And I don't see them.
Oh, here they are. So Ren had Prescott, Fournette, Fitzgerald, and Ingram. Prescott had 21.56 points. Fournette 19.5. Fitzgerald 2.2 points, and this was me. I'm sorry, and even Ingram 1.6 point for 45.6 points with the Fitzgerald Ingram debacle there. Webboy had Kyler Murray for 6.96 points, Dalvin Cook for 30.9, DeAndre Hopkins for 28.6, and Mark Andrews for 5.9 for 72.36. And Ren had Josh Allen for 21.28, Saquon Barkley for 17, T.Y. Hilton for 19.4, and Darren Waller for 34.6. All 4 of your players did well for 92.28 points. Literally, you did twice as good as I did.
Oh, damn, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, Larry Fitzgerald play, we talked about it last week. It didn't pan out. I don't think it pans out again this week. I don't think Fitzgerald is the kind of guy you can look at each week and go, oh, yeah, I got to put him in a lineup somewhere. You stay away from it. Evan Engram, that's a whole different story. Like I said, I watched that game. He got poked in the eye. Couldn't see that well. So they weren't throwing to him. It just was not a good. They probably should have just sat him. I don't even know why they wound up running him the rest of the game. But then the Giants were that was a debacle of a game for the Giants. The Giants are horrible. Ran on the Josh Allen move. We all liked it. I mean, we had exposure to him in other lineups also, so that was a good move. Saquon Barkley, you've mentioned his name, I don't know, 4 weeks out of 7 so far.
Me?
Yeah, you.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you've mentioned Barkley quite a few times. The T.Y. Hilton, you had mentioned that last week. Oh, T.Y. Hilton's a good play this week. You pulled him in your play, but it's a good move. The Waller, okay. With everyone hot on the Andrews thing, we had some exposure to Waller in different places. It worked. 92 points.
You did.
All right.
It worked.
All right, let's do this again, and then I'm going to have to beg out.
All right. Webby, kick it off. Quarterback.
Oh boy, oh boy. Quarterback this week. Oh, Jesus Christ. You put me on the spot here with it. I am going to go, if it's okay with everyone. I don't know who's got what or thinking of what. I'm going to Deshaun Watson. Wanted to go Tannenhill. Do like the Matt Stafford play. But
Well, again, this isn't a value building a lineup. These are the players we're most confident are going to score high. So
yeah, this is I mean, I have very little exposure to him this week, and I probably will build some lineups around him. But I'm going to Deshaun Watson.
All right, Dan.
Well, if he takes Watson, I'm taking Russell Wilson.
Wilson,
I know that.
Yep, of course, gets Atlanta. It's the best matchup of the week. Atlanta gives up the most points to quarterbacks.
And I'm going to...
He's going to go Jared Goff. Against Cincy. That's what he's going to do. Just pencil it in right now. Actually put it in ink. Sharpie?
I'm
Tattoo
going
ink?
Ryan Tannehill.
He's going for the Tannehill. Okay. I figured by the second or third quarter, they'll be on their third quarterback.
Most likely,
Yeah,
but it's fine.
They'll be looking for Matt
I'm already
Moore.
1-0. I'm good.
That's, yeah.
I can afford a loss here. Dan, give me a running back.
I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley.
All right, I'm going to go back to the well and do Leonard. Webby?
Such a hard one for me because you left the two guys I really like this week. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Latavius Murray.
Homer.
Not a homer. I don't think that I'm pretty confident Kamara is not going to play. And even if he does, it's going to be a very limited role. And with the performance of Murray last week and the week before, actually, against Arizona, I think he's in for a big day.
All right, so I'm going to go first with wide receiver. I'm taking DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay.
Webby's taking can't guard Mike. Just typing it in.
You can type it in. I was really thinking of MVS this week, but I'll take can't guard Mike. Sure.
Go ahead, can't guard Mike.
No, take
all right,
can't guard
Dan,
Mike.
wide receiver.
I'm going to go
Cooper Kupp.
Kenny Golladay.
Golladay. Good play. We've got exposure to him in lineups.
All right, Webby, back to you for tight end.
Ooh. Pass.
Nope.
Oh, God.
Do you just want to go for the trifecta?
No,
Pick Josh Hill.
I don't. I don't want to screw Dan over, but I'm going to go Triple H. Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
All right, Dan, up to you.
I'm going to go Travis Kelce. I think this is the week that he actually has a big week.
Okay. with no quarterback. I'm going Darren Waller.
You think he has another good week like he did last week?
He's the biggest target and favorite target.
Why don't you
Derek Carr.
Can you misspell that and type Delaney Walker?
No.
No, you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
Okay.
All right, cool.
All right, guys. We'll see how we do. And I'm sorry if I was a little lethargic today, but
It's all good.
All good, man.
Understand. Feel better.
okay, guys.
All right, Webby, before we bolt out of here, why don't you drop the knowledge on the sports betting plays you like this coming week?
Well, like we were talking about earlier this week, there are a lot of bad matchups, and Vegas lines are showing it. There's not a lot of money to be made here. Stay away from the Saints-Cardinals game. There's no money to be made on it. Saints are minus 455 at this point.
There's a lot of trap games this week.
Yeah, I mean, that game, You might want to play the over and under, but a lot of people are getting burnt on over and unders, and I think the NFL needs to step up and change a bit of the rules that there's no more sitting on the ball. You looked hard and created this whole sports betting venue, and it's starting to become legal state by state by state. It comes a point in time where you can't sit on the ball. 2 minutes left, you can't run it to eat the clock. The days of, oh, you're up by 50, I shouldn't score anymore, stop. There's betting involved here, and there's millions of dollars on the line.
They don't care.
Well, NFL should. The NFL should.
Why should they care?
Because this is what they wanted. They wanted to be able to legitimize sports betting just the way Major League Baseball did and change their rules. Lineups have to be in X amount of minutes before the game so that people can get their bets in. If NBA wanted betting like there was no tomorrow, legitimize their game to accommodate betting. The NFL, yes, they did. Yes, they did.
You still can't build a fantasy lineup unless you're going to be in front of a computer 15 minutes before tip-off.
Same thing with baseball.
No, baseball submits their lineups an hour and a half before the game.
15 minutes, it's finalized. 15 minutes before the game, it's finalized, period. 15 minutes.
But they're out there an hour and a half prior.
NFL needs to do something with it. You can't sit on the ball. We've seen way too much money lost this year because of it. Way too much. Ask Vegas. Stay away from the Saints-Cardinals game. The Giants-Detroit game I actually like, even though it's minus 285 on the lines. I would take it, and I'd probably take the under on that game. You can give the points at 6.5. I don't think the Giants are really going to put up that good of a game to stay close enough to Detroit. That game should cover the spread. As far as the Eagles-Buffalo game, Bills -2, give the points, run. Don't think that game's going to be that close. I think it's going to be a 7-point game, maybe a 5-point game. Could see a safety in that game. Not 100% sure, but we've seen safeties already that should have never happened and have in 3 games this year. I like the Bills in that. Give the 2 and run. Jets, Jaguars, have fun with this one. It's a 4-point game. It's a 6-point game. Jets are horrible. They're only getting 6. Give the 6. And if you've got the balls to do it, tease it to double that. Because the Jets are just god-awful. The only thing they're going to have this week is Le'Veon Bell, who will probably put up no more than 15, 16 points fantasy-wise, which means what? A touchdown and 60 yards rushing? Maybe 80? I don't like that. I do not like the Jets in this game. I would take the Jaguars and run with it. Anybody against the Chargers at this point?
Yeah.
I really don't care if they're playing the Bears. I'm looking at the Chargers just like Miami. Anybody who plays against them, take the bet and run. Bears do not have the Bears have a shot at beating the Chargers only because they don't know what the hell they're doing on the field so far. The point spread on that is 4. I give the 4. Take the Bears. Over and under 41. I think it's going to be over. I think Trubisky has that week this week. And I think Rivers throws the ball for 300, maybe 2 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns.
You hope he throws it for a touchdown.
Well, he should. I think both of those teams have a decent game. I think the Bears come out on top, give the 4 points and run. If you want to be able to tease that game the other way, the Chargers are plus 175 to win straight up. So you can hedge it both ways and at least break even on that game. It's a good play to save some money there. Seahawks-Falcons game, 6.5 over 53. I'm not touching this game. Don't like it at all. The money to be made there is on the Falcons, and that's not happening. I'm staying away from that game completely. Taking the Rams over the Bengals. Going to take the over on that game. You really can't make money betting the game straight up at minus 590, and you're given 12 points in that game, which is probably doable at minus 110. I would give the points, take the over, stay away from everything else on that. Broncos-Titans game, that's up to you people out there. It's an even game pretty much. Plus 2.5 over and under 46. And right now the money line is on the Buccaneers at plus 125. Tennessee's only minus 141. So there is money to be made there. If you like Tennessee over the Buccaneers, you just don't know with the Bucs. I mean, they put up 3 good games this year that they shouldn't have and won, 2 of them?
What? Winston will show up.
Yeah, exactly. And I like Winston this week, but I don't know if I'm going to bet that game. Carolina Niners, your call. It's Carolina. They had a week off. Probably going to be a good game there. Last week.
Is that in Cali?
It's in Cali. We saw last week's game. I mean, the 9-0 swamp fest that it was with nobody showing up. Carolina's well rested. McCaffrey should run this ball like a madman. I don't know about this game, but I am putting Carolina in my parlay.
I hate to say this, but just judging by how legit and mean that 49er defense is, I don't know if that bodes well for McCaffrey.
Well, you know what? We will see. Raiders, Houston, take Houston, run it across the board. Over and under, as y'all call it, is 51.5. It's tough. The Raiders put up points and then they don't. I could see the Raiders putting up 21. What will the Texans do? Are they going to double that, match that, 1.5 that to give you the 51 over? I don't know. Under might be the better line. Doesn't matter either way. It's both minus 110, so it's a toss up there. Oh wow! Look, I just got kicked out.
Well, the only other game to talk about is the Packer game.
The Packers game, which I'm personally taking the Chiefs, taking the 4 points, +4, taking the Chiefs, staying away from the over and under because I don't trust it. It's a night game. I don't really care for the night games. You know that. It's
in Arrowhead, right?
Strange things happen. Yes, it's in Arrowhead. Taking the Chiefs, take the 4 points. You take the money line on that too. It's +170. There's money to be made there. My parlay for the week is I'm going to take the Steelers on Monday night. I'm taking the Chiefs, taking Houston, taking the Patriots, and to tease that up, throw it in there, taking Carolina. That is my 5-team parlay this week.
No balls for a 6-team parlay?
I don't like it. It's not a matter of the balls. I don't like it. Every other game is, like you said, there's so many trap games this week. I mean, when you Buccaneers, Titans, you don't know. Jets, Jaguars.
Yeah.
Broncos.
Put your hand up emoji.
Broncos, Colts. You going to throw that in a parlay? Do you trust it? Do you trust the Seahawks-Falcons game? I know, it's backup quarterback. But you don't know. It's still Julio Jones. It's still Royce Freeman. You don't know.
Not Royce Freeman.
Not Royce. Devonta Freeman. Thank you. Chargers Bears. Are you going to throw that in a parlay? Which way are you going with it? Do you trust that game? I mean, if you want another team in there, take the Detroit Lions. Throw them in there. You can take the Saints and throw them in there. But now you're dropping your odds. By adding those teams, you're actually lessening your odds and not making money. Like the 5 teams this week, they're going to give you the best value on those.
I don't know how I feel about some of those games. They just feel trappish to me, but I think it's...
All the 1 o'clock games are trap games. Every one of them.
I think it might be the one that you hit. The one that doesn't feel exactly right. The one you're scared about is generally the one that works out for you.
All the 1 o'clock games are trap games.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, get your lineups in. Do the right thing. Take our advice. We've been cashing out hand over fist the past 6 weeks of this season. I think our hit rate is pushing probably close to 90 at this point.
Yeah, across the board.
Yeah, I would say.
Fantasy draft, we're at 58%, I believe it is.
I think we're higher than that.
I got to crunch the numbers.
But we will see you week 9 next week.
Good luck.
We are out of here. Good luck, bro.